Okay, super spontaneous. Decided to do this. Uh, Lee's surgery ran really late. Started really late too. And they let me stay way past visiting hours, but he was really struggling in the recovery room, so they finally let me back there. And he was super anxious and distressed. His blood pressure was really high. Anyway, I was trying to calm him down, and I thought, oh, I'll play the mouse and the motorcycle for him. And I'm trying to get the file to download to my phone. And anyway, so I thought, okay, I'll just go buy the Kindle book. Sorry. So I buy this Kindle book, and the first page says, "A letter from Kate DeCamillo," or maybe it's DeCamillo. And I think to myself, did I download the wrong book? I've never seen this before. Of course, the copies of The Mouse and the Motorcycle that I have had my hands on were probably first or second, well, not first edition, but like early printings. So very, very old. It, oh, for children's books, right? Older than me. Well, maybe not really. Don't quote me on that. I'm not as young as I think I am. Anyway, I want to read you this letter. I read it to Lee, and I have to say his blood pressure came down, his breathing calmed and deepened, which I was really, really trying to do or get him to do. It seemed to really let his anxiety come down a little bit. So I read that part, and then he grabs me and he says, more. It's really very kind of uncharacteristic. I mean, I've told you all, he's asked me to record this book, and I did. It's really crappy recording. But this letter is just so cute, and I think it just really captured something for him, and whatever it was a little magical moment. So I thought I would share. I hope you guys all enjoy it. So, a letter from Kate DeCamillo, or Camillo. Dear reader, I'm going to put this over here so it doesn't look like I'm staring at the book. When I was 8 years old, my brother and I had a mouse named Pinky. He was a white mouse with a pink tail, pink feet, and pink eyes. He lived in a cage in my brother's room. One morning, I went to greet Pinky, and he was not there. "Pinky has escaped!" I shouted. "Oh, for the love of Pete," said my mother. "There's no way that mouse got out of the cage," said my brother. "It's impossible." But it was not impossible. Pinky had somehow gotten out of his cage. He had disappeared completely. My mother and my brother and I searched for him. We looked under dressers, in the closets, underneath all of the beds. We overturned clothes hampers, emptied out drawers. Nanette, our dog, followed us from room to room as we searched through these various and sundry places. I may have added that. "Pinky!" I shouted. "Pinky, come home!" "Don't be stupid," said my brother. "Mice don't know their names." My brother was older than I was. He thought that he knew more than I did. He thought that he knew everything. "I can't believe that I paid money for a mouse," said my mother. "I can't believe that I bought a mouse." And now he's loose in the house, doing who knows what. Which was exactly what I was thinking. Who knew what Pinky was doing? I had read Beverly Cleary's book, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, and I knew that the objects and people and mice of the world were not at all as they seemed on the surface. Sidebar. Level 42. I knew that in the right circumstances, mice could do impossible and improbable things. For instance, they could ride toy motorcycles, and they could communicate with people. Mice could, if they wanted to, really wanted to. Mice could talk. Of course, I said none of this to my brother or my mother because they would not have believed me anyway. We did not find Pinky that day or the next day or the next. What am I supposed to do here? Said my mother. Call an exterminator? Set a trap? You can't just let a mouse run willy-nilly through your house. He's probably dead anyway, said my brother. He's probably starved to death. I said nothing. I thought it was just fine to let a mouse run loose in the house. And I didn't believe for a minute that Pinky had starved to death. I believed that he was off having an adventure. He's a mouse after my own heart. I imagined him climbing a lamp cord, chatting and feasting with the other mice in our house. I imagined him riding a toy motorcycle down our long hallway, just like Ralph did in The Mouse and the Motorcycle. On the morning of the 4th day of Pinky's disappearance, Nanette started barking at the refrigerator. She stood with her legs spread out and her head down low. She barked and barked and barked in a very, very determined way. Now what? Said my mother. My brother got a flashlight and he turned it on. He shined it into the crack between the refrigerator and the wall. And there was Pinky. His little eyes were glowing. For the love of Pete, said my mother. My brother shut the dog out of the kitchen. Mom put a glob of peanut butter on a blue saucer, and I placed the saucer close to the refrigerator, right next to the crack between the refrigerator and the wall. Then I sat down on the floor and I crossed my legs. I did not sit in the W position, please note. I crossed my legs. I waited. And after what seemed like a very long time, Pinky crept out, his whiskers twitching hopefully. He made his way to the blue saucer. I picked him up and put him back in the cage. This is the last mouse we get, said my mother. I can tell you that much. Don't you bother me about getting another mouse. Karen, no more pigs. We got a different cage, a better cage, and Pinky did not escape again. Every day I went to visit him. I stared into his little pink eyes. Why do you keep staring at that mouse? Asked my brother. I'm just looking at him, I said. I'm admiring him, and I'm really glad that we found him. But really, truthfully, I was hoping that Pinky would speak. I was hoping that he would tell me what had happened when he was out of his cage. He was running loose in the world. What was his big adventure like? But he never spoke. It didn't matter, really, because here's the thing. I believed that he could speak. And I believed that because of Beverly Cleary. A good story changes how you look at the world. It encourages you to look past the obvious, the everyday. A good story grants you the permission to imagine. A good story gives you hope. It has been almost 50 years since I read about Ralph for the first time. And here I am, still believing that if I'm quiet enough, if I just believe enough, hope enough, a mouse might talk to me. That's more than good. That's great. Kate DeCamillo. I'm really not sure. Okay. I just thought that was so adorable. It just made me kind of giggle. And I will tell you that the nurses that kept kind of walking past the little cubicle would stop and listen and watch for a couple minutes. It was really kind of cute. I'm hoping that it's a real letter. There's a little piece of me that worries it's a little Princess Bride kind of scenario, but I just think it's really cute. So what I'm curious is, have any of you guys that I know seen a printed version of The Mouse and the Motorcycle with this letter printed in it? I mean, it has her name, at the very beginning, and then it says at the end, it's just Kate, her name again. It doesn't give any backstory other than what she says in the letter. But I thought it was kind of ironic because it might even be the same time frame. It was probably 50 years ago that I first read that book. Maybe a little bit more than 50 years ago. But anyway, I just thought it was really cute. I'm a little punchy. I haven't slept much. Oh, and the airplane was torture. But that's all right. I have the bed to myself, and I'm hoping to sleep in the morning. Okay, I miss all of you. I hope you have a great night. And for those of you that have read The Mouse and the Motorcycle, let me know if you think this was as cute as I did. And if you haven't read The Mouse and the Motorcycle, I don't care how old you are. First of all, you have to set aside all of your preconceptions of time and technology and, what life looks like today. You have to keep in mind the period that this book was written. I haven't looked up the exact date, but I think it was in the 50s. Is it maybe early? I don't know. Anyway, it definitely dates itself. But it's so endearing, and I think it's a childhood story that, kids will still enjoy. In fact, my niece, Nikki, I'm going to send this to Nikki too. Hi, Nikki, I love you. I hope you're feeling okay. I know she's read it to her kids, or at least some of her kids have read this book. Of course, Nikki's kids have read books I've never even heard of, so I'm super impressed with them. But anyway, look at me. I have like the thumbs of two different people. Wait, I can't see this thumb in my Look, this one. I can't quite hold my hand out flat. Oh, I can do it this way. Wait, where's the camera? Look. Yeah, I have a little bit of blood on my thumb. But look, I have a straight thumb. It looks freaky, doesn't it? I mean, I look at it and I think, is that my hand? Because, it didn't look anything like this hand. I have a freaky, well, we all have freaky hands, right? Like, see how these wave? Like, these I didn't know this. Your hand is not supposed to move like that. You'll notice these don't move like that at all. I mean, I don't have all of my range of motion back yet, but I've gotten a lot of it back. And I will say, even though I know that my hand is still weak, I feel like I have more strength in my hand today than I did the day before I had surgery. I mean, I was dropping things multiple times a day. I pick up anything. I had gotten in the habit of just picking up everything with two hands because I would just drop things. It's weird to me. I don't feel it in my hand. Ugh. Okay, enough of all that. I really am going to bed. I love you.